Welcome to Sound of Hope News. I'm your host Wei Fang, and my co-host
Kathy
Zhang. Yeah,
Hi, everybody.
Chinese American journalist from San Francisco, California. All right, so just repeat our announcement. On Monday, we will be moving our program time 1 hour ahead of time.
Right.
Okay, so we'll be starting at 7 o'clock through 8 for the Pacific time. And the East Coast, it will be like 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So mark your calendar, and thank you, we'll be there. And actually for tomorrow, for the weekend, okay, we'll be skipping the weekend. We'll be stopping the weekend because we need to do some preparation and also take some breath. So Monday through Friday, we'll be there at starting next Monday would be 7 through 8. Thank you very much.
Right. So today will be your last time see us at during this hour for the last time. And next Monday we're gonna start with our new hour. So yeah, maybe right now it's a good time to just check on, whether you are still subscribed, whether the bell still, have you clicked the bell and like our show.
Yeah. So what we want to promise you is in the next week, we will be, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we will do a lot of revision to the program. The whole idea is to move up to another level, hopefully. Okay. So indeed, news is very truthful. News is a rarity now, and that's what we aim to address. That's a problem that we aim to address. Okay, with no further ado, let's just move into the news of today.
All right.
So the first one we want to talk about, on the next Wednesday would be Inauguration Day. So what will happen on that day?
Yeah, so it was reported by Reuters and the AP that...
Maybe before we move that, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi's and her speech today and the news conference. Nancy Pelosi said the inauguration event will be small due to the COVID-19. She said this has been planned for a few weeks ahead of time, and she said the attack on the Capitol last week has necessitated more security. And Nancy Pelosi said that this is not a concession to the terrorists, and she said, but a recognition of the danger of the coronavirus and the threat of more violence. Okay, and but for President Trump, he has announced that he won't be attending Biden's inauguration, and he said originally there was word saying that he would leave 1 day earlier. Has that how's the situation there, Kathy?
So according to Reuters and the AP's report today, President Trump plans to leave Washington, D.C. after a farewell ceremony on the morning of next Wednesday. So, but keep in mind, this was reported on Reuters saying that a source familiar with the matter told them. Okay, just keep that in mind. So it was said that President Trump is expected to leave the White House either aboard Marine One or by motorcade in the morning, and the ceremony will take place at Joint Base Andrews, where Air Force One is stationed.
That's in Maryland, right?
Right.
Maryland, yeah, fairly close to the DC, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. It was reported that full details of the ceremony has not been set, but AP reported that there could be involve a red carpet, a color guard, a military band, and a 21-gun salute. So it was reported that Trump and his family plan to fly aboard Air Force One to his Mar-a-Lago club. And so a farewell ceremony is not unprecedented, as former President Obama and his family also held an event and a speech for the White House staff before boarding Air Force One for their farewell trip.
Mm-hmm.
And President Trump has said he will not attend the inauguration, and Vice President Mike Pence expected to attend it. So, that's but we'll have to see, have to wait and see what really happens.
Yeah, okay. So that's the first piece of news. The second piece of news we want to report to you about the development on the still the back then the investigation against Trump on the Russian the so-called Russia Gate, right? And then there was a dossier, the Steele dossier, the former UK former British spy, and he offered a dossier which was served as the basis for the FBI to ask for the FISA warrant from the court, ask for the warrant from the FISA court, and then which then started the whole Russian Gate investigation, which turned out to be nothing, as nothing was found, and so this week, and the Senate released, declassified to be precise speaking, declassified a document related to the hearing regarding this dossier. And the infamous dossier, actually, what was revealed is FBI in the summer of 2016, FBI handling agent knew without a doubt that the Steele's reporting was political. And from the declassified document, there's a quote in it which says, "It was completely obvious that this information intended to be used by one of the parties against the other." All right. However, this dossier was still used by James Comey to the FISA court, and it started the whole thing. Then it was against Page, and also start the whole thing. Okay, so let's actually take a look. I just wanted to take a look. Okay, see whether our DJ can have it there. Can you just show the image that I just sent to you, and which says, let me just read it here. This is a question and answer in the Senate, and the question says, "But it was definitely political in your mind," and the answer is, "Without a doubt, not even a question." That was the reply of the FBI agent. There's no name there. And also, okay, just look at that. That's a transcript of the question and answer between the senator, the Senate committee, and the FBI agent. Okay, look at the bottom. It says it was completely obvious that this was information intended to be used by one of the parties against the other. So, regardless, the FISA court was still approached with, with all the document that exclude such, such information, and then the judge gave the warrant, and that was that. And so Senator Graham today said that this is the most inept and corrupt investigation of the FBI in the history. That was his word. I don't know how you think about that. It doesn't, it's not too hard to make sense of that. Anyway, let's just move on to the next topic, which is
Yeah. So as a major, a number of major big tech companies censored, basically deplatformed President Donald Trump. And so the big tech censorship in America has attracted world attention. So yesterday, Mexico's president, he publicly pledged to lead a global effort to fight against big tech censorship. So President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said that he is reaching out to other government leaders already. He criticized the power big tech companies wield and said that they should not be able to stifle free speech. So he said yesterday that I can tell you that at the first G20 meeting we have, he said he's going to make a proposal on this issue. And he claims that social media should not be used to incite violence and all that, but this cannot be used as a pretext to suspend freedom of expression. So he asked, how can a company act as if it was all of powerful, omnipotent, as a sort of Spanish Inquisition on what is expressed? Mm-hmm. And Mexico's Foreign Relations Secretary said that they have already started communication with other countries for their campaign. So in recent days, we all know that leaders from Poland, Australia, and other countries have all came out to publicly criticize the censorship by the big companies, big tech companies, to the President Trump. And so Steve Mosher, president of the Population Research Institute and a founding member of the Committee on the Present Danger China, he said that any ramifications and the companies are grossly underestimated the number of people in and out of government overseas who support Trump. And he said it will spark a massive move off of their platforms to other existing and new platforms will be created. And in fact, a few new years down the road, he predicted that we may well be talking about how they destroyed those big companies, how they destroyed their own business model. And this move will cost them and their shareholders tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, as of today, Twitter's stock price keep dropping, and it's dropping a little bit today, not a little bit, 1.33%. So it's interesting to see that how Twitter and the other social media would fare after this exodus. Could they recover, or that's the starting of a long time, long slide? We'll see. Okay, a lot of factors involved here.
Yeah, and that way, right now I wanted to just insert a kind of a story because we talked about the other, like the WhatsApp. What happened to WhatsApp, which belongs to Facebook, right?
Yeah, what did that yesterday?
It really suffered a dip in downloading. Right? Yes.
Okay.
So WhatsApp messaging app has suffered a major drop in new downloads as many users just turn to other apps like Telegram we talked about,
right,
and also Signal. So it's very interesting that actually the original founder of WhatsApp is actually also the later on become the co-founder of Signal. So at that time when Facebook bought WhatsApp, and the co-founder called Brian Acton, he had a different opinion with Mark Zuckerberg. So what happened is he just walked away. Okay, so so that happened in 2000. He founded WhatsApp in 2009, and when it sold to Facebook, it was in 2014. So because he just doesn't believe in that to use the customer's data and to use targeted advertising. So he just left WhatsApp. So not only he left $850 million worth of stock behind, he also became a vocal critic of Facebook. Like in 2018, when Facebook was in the midst of remember the Cambridge Analytica scandal? Remember? So Acton actually sent out a tweet saying it's time to delete Facebook. So, and then on the other hand, he went on to create a nonprofit called Signal. So Signal is actually a nonprofit. And he invested $50 million of his own money in February of 2018, started the Signal Foundation alongside with another partner. So he actually said their goal is to really develop open source privacy technology that protect free expression and enable secure global communication. So he insists on to make it a nonprofit. He said if people just satisfied, they can donate to them.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that WhatsApp is just so panic these couple of days. Actually, Facebook put out a full page advertise in India's newspaper asking user not to leave.
Yeah, that's a country that have big use of the WhatsApp.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. So so WhatsApp just down the downloads down more than 2 million between January 5th to 12th, and in the same period of time, Signal had 17.8 million downloads.
Okay.
While Telegram also had a similar.
All right. So if you think the problem that Kathy reported about WhatsApp is the only problem, is the only app that has problem, actually, let me pick it up. Signal has a big problem, even worse today. It crashed 5 hours ago. It just cannot be accessed.
Oh.
However, that's a good problem. The reason is it is in another app, just like Telegram, struggling to keep up with the growth that they are experiencing. All right. So Signal app tweeted today. It says this. It says, we have been adding new servers and extra capacity at the record pace every single day this week, non-stop. But today exceeded even our most optimistic projections. Millions upon millions of new users are sending a message that privacy matters. We appreciate your patience. So basically, since January 12th, think about that. That's really just 3 days ago, right? Their user increased from 10 million to 50 millions in just a few days, as you can see. What is the what the users are choosing, right? All right, okay. Now next topic is our main topic of today, and also we put that on our the thumbnail, the picture. Just let's say this, okay, Kathy. You run into at late night, okay, deep night. You see a crime, a murder scene at your apartment. How about that?
Oh,
you make a phone call to 911, and the other end pick up the phone and said, "So what's up?" And Kathy said, "It's a murder site. I see the murderer is still there. Come on over." And the 911 operator said, "Sure, we're gonna be there very quickly." So Kathy just asked, "How quickly?" The other side said, "How about this time next year?" Well, I'm not joking here. What I'm talking about is a real thing. So what is a real thing, Kathy?
Yeah. So actually, right now it marks the 1 year anniversary of the Wuhan virus, which originated from China. So actually, the WHO's expert team just arrived in Wuhan to investigate the origin of this virus just yesterday.
Yeah, let me just add a little bit. On the January 20th, okay, of last year, that was the date that the CCP Chinese government was forced to announce that they put an emergency ban. They sealed the city of Wuhan, right? And so from that day to today, it's 360 days. So it took 360 days, first time for WHO doctors to manage to arrive at the city and to do what?
Well,
to check the origin of the virus, right?
Yeah, so we have to say that actually last February, there are a couple of WHO experts were in China, but they were, after so much negotiation, they were able to go there, but not to investigate the origin of the virus, but to observe China, how they deal with the pandemic. So this time, after 1 year, they said, we can allow you to investigate the origin of the virus. So let's see, C3, that's the team of the experts that just arrived in China. So totally they have 15 originally, but there were 2 tested positive of this virus. So there were 13 of them.
In Singapore, right?
Right.
So they got stuck.
The 2 of them just got stuck in Singapore.
So the other remainder of the team still come.
Yeah, but they have to be quarantined for 14 days. And so the expert will stay in Wuhan for about 1 month, during which the authorities arranged for them to visit the Huanan seafood market, the wet market. Supposedly, it was where the virus was originated. So let's take a look at this market, C4. It was the original, like a year ago, how it looks like. But take a look at the next photo, how it looks like right now. Okay, so there's nothing there. It's all washed away. So it's all the, building signs are removed. And so people ask, after a year, what's left for WHO to investigate? So, but also before the team arrived in Wuhan, a Scotland-based Sunday Post reported that more than 300 research papers published by the Wuhan Institute of Virology were removed from the website of the National Natural Science Foundation of China. And the data was also deleted, includes critical research on the virus transmission, such as animal to human disease studies. And some experts and the official outside of China have raised the possibility that the CCP virus leaked out of a virology lab in Wuhan instead of the wet market. Sir Ian Duncan Smith, which is a former conservative leader in the UK and a member of the Inter-Parliamentary Alliance for China, told the Sunday Post that the Chinese regime was covering up evidence when the critical research was removed. And he said, it is vital that this is a thorough investigation into what happened, but China seemed to be doing everything it can to prevent it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the virus that in the past 1 year has killed 2.01 million people worldwide, and including 390,000 Americans, and destroy our economy and the world's economy, and also mess up our election. So this is what happened at this time last year, and it took 360 days for the WHO doctors to be there. So there's a lot of story like this. If you question CCP, Chinese government's labor camp, they're gonna say, "Oh, we invite you over," wholeheartedly. I invite you
after
over.
a while, right?
Yeah. They're gonna just invite you over. You can go to the labor camp. If you suspect certain hospitals, they eventually, put it this way, they eventually will have a tour for you. But what happened there? As a Chinese and who know the inside story. So before they come in, they got enough time, right? They prepare everything, including painting the wall. Everything is so clean, so beautiful, so graceful, and so happy.
Yeah, they will train the interviewees to tell them how to say, how to talk.
Every inmate in the labor camp will be well trained and well warned. If you go out of line, you will know the consequence. So when you go to a labor camp, you see all the smiling, happy inmates there. Okay, they were people who were just tortured there, for years. And they put out their smile. They dress all the the new uniform and all the clean quilt and things like that. So this is just a communist story. It happened the same way in the Soviet Union, happened the same way in the North Korea, happened the same way in the former Eastern Germany and in China. All right, this is just a way. Okay, so after 360 days, they invite somebody over there, and then they quarantine them for 14 days. And then they check the crime scene.
Yeah,
and you can imagine what would happen.
So, Wei, what do you expect from this report?
Well, the reporter would say that we went there, and they are very cooperative. They are good. We don't find anything suspicious leading to any artificial, man-made, or whatever mistake. And we hope that things will be better, and so on and so on. And then CCP will take that report and tout around the world, and also to its people, saying that they said we have no problem. Okay, so this trip is better not even happening. Okay, just like Kathy make that midnight phone call reporting a crime, and if police said, we're gonna be there, this time next year, right? Kathy probably will say, you might as well not come, right? So who would do that? And especially if that murderer is the like a parliament manager, he's gonna say, I'm gonna invite you over. You're gonna check the crime scene, and just have a warm welcome for you. What can you find as a police? So it's a shame. Okay, this is not the first, and it won't be the last, right? As we all know that back in 2001, I think, right, the SARS.
Yeah.
Now we got this COVID-19, which the right name is called the CCP virus. In the future, there will be CCP virus 2 and 3 and so on.
Yeah, so that reminds me about talking about the SARS. Actually, I had my classmates back in China who was a doctor.
Yeah.
So back in then, also the Chinese Communist Party allowed a WHO expert at a point of time to enter into China, right? To investigate. And you know what happened? My classmate told me that she's a doctor in Shanghai. In their hospital, they actually just bust up all those patients who had SARS, who had already infected with SARS, and they just bust them and they just tour them around while the WHO experts were visiting their hospital. And that's how they just avoid for those patients to see those experts. And and also, I don't know how many people know that actually how United States this time around, how they got to know about this CCP virus. So the Health Secretary Alex Azar yesterday, he did a speech at the Heritage Foundation, and he reminded Americans that how Beijing about a year ago had held back the truth about the CCP virus outbreak, and how the first time that the United States officials heard about this virus is actually not from Chinese Communist Party. So let's watch C6.
Let's consider when and how the United States became aware of the virus. We learned about an outbreak of pneumonia of unknown origin in Wuhan, China, on December 30th. Not through that country's official channels, as required under the international health regulations, but through media monitoring that we do, as well as through a notification from Taiwan's Economic and Cultural Office here in the United States. That's right. One of the very first ways the U.S. government was notified of a novel virus in mainland China was by people from Taiwan. On January 1st, CDC began developing situation reports on the suspected novel virus. On January 3rd, HHS notified the National Security Council, which began holding daily meetings on January 14th, just 3 days after China finally publicly admitted the first death caused by the virus, and the same day that the World Health Organization repeated the claim that there was no human-to-human transmission.
Yeah, see, the Chinese Communist government went straightforward with it, and the United States didn't also get much help from the WHO. So Secretary Azar went on to explain that all the timelines, how the United States government has been informed, how they react, including the travel ban at the end of January, so on and so forth. So it was a pretty good speech, I think, for you to understand what happened. And he also said something I think really I would like to share with our audience. C7.
China has spent the better part of this year shamelessly promoting an Orwellian version of events, designed to persuade the world that its authoritarian form of government is best suited to respond to a public health crisis. The facts are, however, that if a novel virus like this had emerged in a democratic nation, a global outbreak might never have occurred.
Yeah. So the Chinese Communist government has really spent a lot of time, and I think they were, in some cases, they were successful to convince people that this type of Orwellian kind of lockdown is a better way to deal with the pandemic. So, yeah, and
yeah, let me just add one observation. Actually, one data that for you, and okay, believe it or not. So just hear me out. Right, as we know that as of now that the so-called data, this data is from the George W. What was that?
The John Hopkins University
data. They said 2 million people, 2.01 million people died, including 390,000 Americans. That's one place that the President Trump received the most criticism. Under your reign, nearly 400,000 people died, and in other countries it doesn't happen that way. All right, we heard that story. So as a journalist who report China for 20 years, right, because I came from China, we have a reporter that call into China, investigating things there. We got 120 shortwave stations beaming into China. We got a lot of contact in China. Let me tell you the real story. In a totalitarian regime like China, like a CCP, okay, when people died, they just don't report number. they don't report the number. China's death rate can be 50 to 100 times of the American number, and you won't heard about that. And it's entirely true. Even as of today, people still died of coronavirus in China, and you don't heard about that. Chinese people don't hear about that. Okay, that's the way of how they control data. In this country, in this transparent, United States of America, President Trump went out of his way to test people. Okay, to test people. You know how Chinese government official sneer at our president. This is how stupid he is. He just need to stop testing, and just tune down the number, and the problems go away. He won't face such a criticism. That's their attitude. Okay, if we believe that the 300,000 death is the worst case, United States is the worst country in this world dealing with the virus, this is what was raised in the presidential debate, right? As a journalist who understands China and report the U.S., okay, I can tell you, with my professional ethics, I tell you that the reality is far from what people think. What do you think? Okay, there's much more time, many more times of death in China, but it's just not reported, so it went away. Okay, so if we believe CCP's propaganda, then we're gonna make the wrong judgment, make the wrong decision, and basically wrong the people who did their job to save this nation. So believe it or not, I don't know whether you believe what I said. I'd love to just hear from you. If you don't, that's fine. I just want to know how you think about that. The death rate in China is many times of U.S., but you don't hear that. What you heard is only 3,000 people, folks. 3,000 people since last February. The revised number originally is 2,000. They feel it's a little too low. They readjusted that overnight to 3,000. They stopped there, and now we have 390,000 people. 390,000 deaths, and you think we're the worst nation. No. So for anybody who would believe CCP's lie or believe in socialism, my sincere advice is advise him or her to go to China, live there for 5 years. Live there, not a visit, live there. Then you will find out the truth. So this is the difference between these two nations, okay? And there was this joke in China, maybe it's also in the US, I don't know, maybe it was translated from English. There's a Martian, right? This Martian came from, the Mars become inhabitable, okay? So the Martian fly over to the Earth, and they try to find out which country he should immigrate to. They got a piece of paper. Okay, at that time, it says New York Times. Okay, it was good New York Times. Still the Gray Lady newspaper, and then got a People's Daily. After he read that the newspaper, he's gonna say, "Gosh, I gotta go to China. That's the best nation on the earth." So this is a story that was floating in China. That's a reality that we know. But unfortunately, in this country, my fellow Americans are just too naive, or I'm sorry, I should not say that. I don't mean any how to say. Degrading meaning, okay, but we don't know. You guys don't know, okay. The CCP, how bad they are, how the propaganda works, how they trick our politicians and corrupt our politicians is just beyond your normal belief. All right, that's my commentary here, Kathy.
Okay. So that's just about about the Wuhan virus report.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next piece of news I want to bring to you is actually Trump is building up defense against the CCP during his last days, right? That was something that happened and these few days. So one thing that he instruct the federal agency to study how to reduce purchasing goods and service from China to guard against the risk brought by the espionage. And the NSC, National Security Council, Robert O'Brien, said in a statement today that Trump has instructed all the agencies and institutions to check all the applicable law and rules and the policy, and to suggest the monitor and the policy change, and to reduce the purchase of the goods and the service from China. All right. So, and the reason is for long years, the Chinese technology, including the software and the hardware, could be used for espionage purpose. And then in China, they have this so-called, NCF. MCF. What is that? Military civil fusion. Okay, basically, it's every and any civil organization or companies is obligated to just collect intelligence data for the military. That's basically in a nutshell. That's it. So which turn into every Chinese company, any company from China, into a potential espionage institution or agent. So that's the risk we face. Never in this world, in our familiar world, in the Western civilization, you can see that a regime would turn every citizen and every company into an espionage agent. So, but that's what we face. So in the final days of the Trump administration, and he and his team is still doing the best to build up the, I would say, defense against the CCP's future infiltration. And as a Chinese journalist, I would say I compliment his act. All right. So the next one is what we want to bring you to about is the National Rifle Association. Okay. Actually, as a matter, the news says this: the NRA, National Rifle Association, declared Chapter 11, and they will be moving out of New York City to Texas,
right?
To Dallas, Texas, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, what's the story there? The first Chapter 11 is it's bankruptcy, right? It's not a Chapter 7, which is like a seize operation and distribute all the wealth to the creditors, and the Chapter 11 is reorg. Okay. Under the protection of the bankruptcy court, you are able to reorg and continue operating. Okay, that's what they face. It's a lighter version. Okay, so basically they will keep their headquarters still in the Virginia. All right, that was there, but they were reincorporated in Dallas, Texas. Okay, in Texas. So as you can see that NRA, that's we're all familiar. They are trying to move to a red state. If you have asked my opinion, that's the case. But I just want to tell a little story about NRA for you. And at the end of it, I want to know whether you like it, because this is not news, this is knowledge. But I just want you to know, because possibly not many people know about that. But if you do know, also let me know after I tell this news story, and so that I know that how many people already know the issue. So as NRA, it was a love and hate kind of organization, right? Conservatives love them, and the liberals hate them. And the NRA was labeled as the one of the strongest lobbyists of the Congress. The reason is, and since 1994, they never fail any their lobby effort. They always win. They can always persuade the Congress go their way. But what is NRA anyway? So let me just, Kathy, you want to know? You want to find out?
Yeah, sure.
NRA, okay. All right, NRA actually, as of now, NRA has like a $5 million members, right? It's one of the largest organizations, very powerful in lobbying. And indeed, where did they come from? How did they get here? And why the bankruptcy? And why the move? That's what I'm trying to answer to you. So back then, actually in, 1859,
wow.
In 1859, in the Great Britain, to answer to express their love for the Queen, that was the Queen Victoria, right? There was a British National Rifle Association was set up, which basically trained people to increase their marksmanship, how they shoot accurately, and then there are some Americans living there. Over here, on this continent, there was a civil war. So in 1861, in the beginning of the Civil War, those Americans living in Britain then wrote to President Lincoln, and recommended him to set up a American version of the National Rifle Association. All right, and then they recommended the President Lincoln, can you be the first president of this NRA? But Lincoln did not agree. Anyway, but however, they still proceed the effort. In that letter, they also suggest the first effort is making a shooting range in the Staten Island. All right, because we set up an NRA, right? The entire NRA's purpose is for improve the marksmanship. How to shoot accurately. And then, so that's what they suggest. And they also, they got some rifles, okay? It's called Whitworth rifles. They said we can donate some rifles as the prize for the first shooting competition with those rifles. All right. Anyway, so Civil War was over. It was not set up. Actually, just 10 years later, in the 1871, NRA incorporated itself in the state of New York. All right. So the founders were two people. One is an editor, another is a captain. Okay, a military person and a civilian set it up. And the first president, his name is called Burnside. Burnside is a Union Army Civil War general. Okay, and he was originally a gunsmith, right? He fixed guns and things like that. So he was elected as the first president. So actually, during the Civil War, the marksmanship of the Union Army was terrible. You know how terrible? They record data, right? So as they shoot their rival. Okay, for the Union Army, every 1,000 shots, they can only hit one person.
Oh.
So they waste a lot of ammos, right? So recognizing a need for better training, the captain, his name is called Wingate. Wingate sent his emissaries to Canada, to UK, and to Germany to observe how they train their militia and their army. All right, so to learn, how do we run this club best? Okay, then 2 years later, in the Long Island, not the Staten Island, okay, on the Long Island, they set up a range. They indeed set up a range, so that people can do that. And then actually the railway company set up a railway station just nearby that range, so that they can shuttle, they can move people from New York City to that range to learn how to shoot. All right, so then something happened. In the UK, there was this, three-way competition, right, between Ireland, England, and Scotland. Okay, they compete for who's the best shooter, who's the best shooting team. So Irish in 1873, Irish rival team beat England and Scotland. So they feel very confident. We're good. How about we challenge those, those Americans are on the other side of the ocean. So send a letter to the U.S. challenge that. Can we, do a competition and just see who shoots better, just between us. All right. So 8 American riflemen, okay, from the NRA, they joined this competition. At that time, they were using what's popular is the muzzle loading. The muzzle loading rifle, right? You just pull the ammo to the barrel, and then you just stuff it, and then you shoot. And however, at that time, Americans, they used the breech loading, okay, and back breech loading rifle. So the end result is Americans won big. All right. So that competition established two things. First, the breech loading firearms is much better than the muzzle loading fire rifle. The second, NRA became a national famous. Yeah, they become very, very famous. All right. So that's how NRA started to organize, expand to other states, setting up rifle clubs, and everywhere. And then this Wingate, okay, the captain's marksmanship manual become the U.S. Army marksman manual. Okay. So U.S. Army say, "Wow, you guys did great. Let me take your manual and have every soldier follow that." So then later, President Ulysses Grant, right? The Union Army commander, and later the president, become the eighth president of NRA, and also the General Philip Sheridan. Sheridan, as you know, Sheridan is also a famous Union Army. Become its 9th president. So it was very well recognized. Okay, then in the 1938, there was this National Arm Act, which was curbing the arm. It was act curbing the arm. And in 1968, there was another act called the Gun Control Act. Okay, both were passed. Actually, Kathy, you know what? NRA did not object to them. NRA went along with it. Okay, the only thing they opposed was they opposed a national firearm registry. All right, that was raised by the then President Lyndon Johnson. As you know, you own a gun, right? You are not in the National Firearm Registry. There's no such thing. Okay, it was never allowed to establish. However, so NRA was just focused on sportsmen and hunters and target shooters and so on. They really downplay the gun control issues. There's gun control issues, gun control laws. They just went along with it until 1 year, which is 1977. On this year, NRA changed. Okay, the then executive vice president of the NRA and his allies, they make this. It was the first time they make the Second Amendment right the central topic of the NRA. So, and that meeting, they got an annual meeting. Okay, that meeting was called Cincinnati Revolution.
Okay.
They just got the power. Okay, they just kick out the previous leaders. They got the power. And then since then, NRA just turned itself into it's a completely different direction. They set its goal as the safeguarding the Second Amendment right. All right. So, and they have a goal to weaken the GCA, which is what I said earlier, the Gun Control Act of 1968. And they successfully lobbied the Congress to pass the Firearm Owner Protection Act. That was in 1986. That was Reagan time. All right, that was aimed to protect the firearm owners. They also reduced the powers of the federal, this ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearm, and Explosive, and so on. And then, actually, in 1999, the Fortune magazine did a survey, and the survey said that the lawmaker and their staffers considered the NRA the most powerful lobbying organization 3 years in a row. And back in 5 years ago, in 2016, NRA raised a record $366 million, but they spend more than $400 million for political activities. All right, they maintain their a PAC, and also they donated to congressional races for both parties. They donated 223 Republicans that year, and 9 Democrats. So yeah, both parties, but largely Republican. So NRA become a very strong supporter of the Republican Party. So so how they do that? This is according to the document. I don't know how accurate it is. Someday I hope that I can interview the NRA people. And the document said through their financial resource and their ability to mobilize its members to do the lobby work, to just call the congressmen and things like that. And so since 1994, it has not lost any major battle over gun control legislation. So what happened last year is this, okay? NRA sued this longtime PR firm, okay? The PR firm is called Ackman McQueen. And the Ackman McQueen company run their PR in, the entire PR campaign and also the NRA TV. So there's some issue there, okay? So they sued that company. They didn't give them enough. The PR firm did not give them the document supporting their billing. So, and the billing actually is $40 million a year. It's very expensive. Anyway, just a lot of things got involved. I don't have all the details. I don't think it's that important. But in the meantime, okay, New York Attorney General Letitia James, he filed a civil lawsuit against the NRA and is alleging fraud, financial misconduct, misuse of a charity fund, and so on. And in the meantime, the DC Attorney General also sued the NRA and saying that they misused charity fund. So I guess that's the last straw to break the back of the camel, and or in another word, they don't like DC and they don't like New York. So that's why they declared actually today, okay, the bankruptcy. Chapter 11, so that they can, they can avoid paying all the debt, and they have an opportunity to reorganize. Then they decide to move to Texas and they restart over there, leaving their headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. And at Fairfax, Virginia, they run a National Firearm Museum, okay, in Fairfax County, which has 15,000 square foot and 2,500 guns displayed there. Someday I would like to go there and take a look. Kathy, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my NRA story for you. I think it's just a knowledge that is interesting. I don't know how you think about that. If you find this is boring, I don't want way to talk about such content. Yeah, just write it up there so that I can get to know that. So, but if you like it, if you think it's fine, you like it, or it's okay, also just give me your opinion, okay? Because I do want to know how you think about that. All right. So Kathy, that's my long, because Kathy's a lady, right? So she's not the gun.
Well, I think you wanted to retract that.
Oh yeah. That's Kathy is the lady in this studio. All right. There's many ladies who may love gun too, and so hopefully you are like the this little story. Okay. All right. So.
Okay. So I think this is it for today's news for you.
So tomorrow and the day after, we'll take a break on the Monday. On Monday next week will be big week, right, guys? You know, the inauguration date, and I think some people still holding their breath. All right, but anyway, on the January 20th is coming, and the history will turn over this page, and we're all holding our breath, and we'll see how things unfold. So starting next Monday, we'll be here. Tuesday, Wednesday, and onward, we'll be here, and I will be your company if you accept that. And thank you very much for being with us for another hour tonight, and have a good night.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Take care, and we'll see you.
Yeah, see you on Monday.
Next Monday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.